All right, folks. This might not be a scary segment for you all, but it's a scary segment for guys like ourselves.
Oh yeah.
Twitch star Hasanabi says he was detained and questioned by border agents. Hasan Piker, a popular Turkish American online streamer who has been a vocal critic of President Donald Trump, said Monday that he was detained and questioned at length by Customs and Border Protection officers upon returning to the United States over the weekend. Piker, a U.S. citizen, that's right, he was born in New Jersey, who streams on Twitch under the name Hasanabi, said in a live stream that he was taken aside after landing at Chicago O'Hare International Airport from Paris on Sunday, despite being enrolled in Global Entry, a CBP program that is supposed to give expedited clearance to pre-approved low-risk travelers returning to the U.S. Piker said he was brought to a detention room inside O'Hare that had fluorescent light bulbs, the whole 9 yards, quote unquote, and where a CBP agent questioned him for about 2 hours about his job, his political affiliation, his opinion of Trump, and whether he had any connections to terrorist groups. That's right. So we have a couple of short excerpts from his live stream. This is one tweeted out from Hasanabi Productions meme account. Twitch streamer Hasan Piker confirms that the Trump administration has been monitoring him for some time. Let's take a look at this.
Fuck I was, but he was basically, he knew exactly who the fuck I was, but he was basically like, he always made it seem as though he was asking certain things that after discovering in the process of that conversation, he would ask additional questions. So he kept saying, "What do you do as a job? Do you talk about the news?" And I was like, "Yeah, I talk about the news." And he kept saying, "Okay, so when you talk about the news, do you talk about the war?" And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" He's like, "Do you talk about Trump?" And that was the first time where I was like, "What the fuck is this question?" Like, I literally straight up told him, I was like, "Why are you asking me this?" Like, I was like, "What does this have to do with anything?" Yeah, they asked me about my fucking Twitch bans, chat. It's not even a joke. They asked me about fucking Twitch chat, like Twitch bans.
He was banned from Twitch for making a joke that was perceived as a threat against Rick Scott. I won't say exactly what it was for fear of tripping a censor ourselves, but that's what the ban was.
The reason for why they're doing that is, I think, to try to create an environment of fear, to try to get people like myself, or at least like others that would be in my shoes that don't have that same level of security, to shut the fuck up. And for me, I'm going to use the privilege that I have in that moment to try and see what the fuck they're doing. Okay?
Okay, now, I don't really pay attention to Hasan very much. He did that big debate with Ethan Klein that I didn't bother watching. It's a separate corner of the space that I don't pay much attention to. I really don't think much about him. I don't really have much of an opinion of him. I never watch his stuff. I really, don't really care what he has to say most of the time about most things. Not one of the creators I frequent. But this is just absolutely insane that you will be detained for 2 hours upon returning to the United States and ask questions like this. So we have a little more here. Dropsite put a clip out. We're going to play the second half of this, and some of it is a bit repetitive. But Twitch streamer and political commentator Hasan Piker was detained for several hours at Chicago O'Hare Airport May 11th after returning from France. Piker described the experience as a clear attempt to intimidate and silence political dissent. He was eventually released, having committed no crime other than thinking critically and out loud on the internet.
Take note of that I thought was very interesting was the fact that a lot of the shit that like the Ethan Kleins of the world have like cried about over and over again were unironically brought up in that fucking conversation. I was shocked. Okay, not like the bleach sword, obviously, but like the Houthi. Like, did you interview a Houthi? It says here that you interviewed a Houthi. And I was like, or was he actually a Houthi? And I was like, he's not. You can look to all of the reporting that came out afterwards and before I interviewed him that he is not he's not a Houthi, that he is a regular Yemeni citizen. And I said, like, his name is Rashid al-Haddad. He is not even a Shia. And the dude, luckily, again, Iraqi, went, Oh, yeah, that's right. That's a Sunni last name. Al-Haddad is a Sunni last name. So he must not have been a Houthi. And the very fact that that was like a point of contention that could have fucking gotten me arrested is insane. And I genuinely, in that moment, was thinking like, these fucking dumbass slop tubers are actually playing with fucking fire.
Yeah, so obviously, look, he's extremely visible. He has a lot of detractors. The Free Press wrote this big article about, how he supports terror and things like that. And so, yeah, he is on the radar of people. And look, we know that the government is taking their cues on who to roust, who to hassle, based on lists that are given to them by organizations like Batar, Canary Mission. Yeah, man, you get on their radar and they do what they can to you. He's an American citizen, so they can't just pull him off the street and throw him in a cage the way they could with Rameza Ozturk. But if he leaves the country and he comes back and he is subject to a customs check or a border check, that's where they fuck you up. This is why Russell says he's not sure if he wants to go to China. Like, you're not worried about getting out. You're worried about getting back in.
Yeah.
You're worried about getting back in.
It's totally
insanity.
Shifted.
It's
totally
fucking
shifted.
Insane. Yeah.
Yep. My
Absolutely
concern
crazy.
before was like, well, am I going to be okay in China? Now it's, am I going to be okay coming back here?
Coming back here. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking I mean, these are egregious First Amendment violations. Now, of course, is it a violation to pull you aside and ask you a question? Well, I would argue, yes, that is, in itself a violation of the spirit of the First Amendment. Now, until they charge you, can they say, hey, we're just asking you questions? Well, that's the post 9/11 world, man. That's the post 9/11 world. That's what they can fucking
We're just jawboning here.
Right. We're just jawboning. Hey, we're just pulling you aside. And as the administration claims ridiculously here, it was a random check. Oh, yeah, we just happened to pull aside Hasan Piker. Tricia McLaughlin, Homeland Security Assistant Secretary, appeared to confirm that Piker was held for questioning, but disputed any claims that political beliefs triggered his inspection. Our officers are following the law, not agendas. Oh, yeah, McLaughlin said in a statement on Monday. Upon entering the country, this individual was referred for further inspection, a routine, lawful process that occurs daily and can apply for any traveler. Once his inspection was complete, he was promptly released. Okay, so if it wasn't his political beliefs that triggered his inspection, what the fuck was it? Are you suggesting it was just at random? They just happened to,
just happened
pull Hasan Piker
grab
out of the crowd.
One of the most famous left YouTubers on the planet.
Yeah.
Twitch streamers, rather.
Yeah. He is not alone. He is not alone. As Common Dreams reports, leftist online creators say they've been detained and questioned over anti-Trump content. It happened, said progressive online political commentator Hasan Piker on Sunday in a cryptic post on the social media site X, one that suggested he wasn't altogether surprised when he was detained for several hours by border agents at a Chicago airport after flying back to the U.S. from France. Yeah, I don't know why you would be terribly surprised. Like, it's a deterrence for me to leave the country, because
why does this randomly happen to Jordan Peterson? He's literally dressed like a Batman villain.
Yes, and crossing the border regularly.
To you? Guy dressed as Harvey Two-Face, that doesn't trigger any alarms?
I've come to Florida to appear on the Dave Rubin program. I assure you I pose no threat. I come in peace.
riddle me this, Ice.
Yes. Piker shared his story as TikTok creator Savannah Pinder, who makes anti-Trump videos and clothing, said publicly that she had been detained at Miami International Airport after passing through global entry. Pinder was taken to several different screening rooms and questioned about her work, travel history, and her father's citizenship status. Her father was born in Panama and became a U.S. citizen. Pinder is a U.S. citizen and was born and raised in the United States. So from the sounds of it, she is not even like a pro-Palestine influencer. Right. She's just more of a lib who trashes Trump fairly superficially from what I can tell. But here's about a minute and a half of her talking about what she went through.
After taking my phone, my passport, all my bags, they had asked me when, where, and why if I had any trips planned, and when, where, and why, and for how long. I had no clue. I still don't have a clue. I do not plan to leave the US yet. So I answered no, and he proceeded to literally scream in my face 4 times, and I told him no every single time. After about 2.5 hours to 3 hours, and during this entire thing, I was finally let go after telling them no, that I had no plans to leave the United States. I was, again, handed to around 5 different officers, I'm not sure if I made that clear, and put in around 3 to 4 different rooms. I believe 4. My parents just came back from Mexico, and nothing happened to them. They were completely fine. They went through. They also have global entry. No questions asked at all. And they came in through the Phoenix airport. This happened in the Miami airport. I also want to let you guys know that I am very political on my accounts. I literally have a clothing brand called Trump for the Dump, making meme shirts of Trump, and then it's a non-profit, so we donate to organizations.
Do your parents sell
I
orange
also want
Hitler
to say
water
that I post
bottles?
on my Instagram stories and my TikTok a lot of things, anti-Trump and anti-MAGA, whatever you want to call it. So that is a red flag for them. So yeah, my Instagram wasn't completely clean. They didn't do anything about it. They kind of just took my phone and searched through everything. I don't really know what they were looking for. I don't have more answers. I complied with every single thing that they asked. I didn't give them a hard time about anything because I'm more scared than anything. And I hope that kind of clears up a little bit of confusion for you guys, and also so you guys know that not everyone has to go through this process, because there were many people that were with me that were being held and just got to get let go of. I know one lady was crying in there because she couldn't get a hold of her immigration lawyer, so I don't know what that was about. I have no clue. But yes, this is a real story. I have another video showing proof of like where these places were at. But yes, this was at the Miami airport at the end of April.
End of April, very, very recently. Journalist Seamus Malekafazali, whose work has been published in The Nation, The Intercept, and other publications, said he has had several experiences like the one described by Piker at Chicago O'Hare International Airport. Been pulled into secondary screening many times, and O'Hare CBP had the most involved in specific questions about Gaza for me by far, said Malika Fazali. So ask him specific questions about Gaza. Ari Cohn, lead counsel for tech policy at the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, that's FIRE, said the incidents show that Immigration and Customs Enforcement and CPB are the enemy's domestic that federal officials swear an oath to defend against. Strong statement, but an accurate one, I would say. No U.S. citizen should be detained by law enforcement at the border or anywhere because of their protected speech, said Cohen. Yeah, obviously. And let's not forget, a few months ago, this happened to our friend Max Blumenthal. Why was I questioned by the feds? He was just pulled aside. From what I remember about that, it was not for 2 hours. It was relatively brief compared to what they did in this example most recently. But yeah, it is extremely troubling. You know, our last segment was about the prescription drug executive order, about slashing drug prices. You know, in America, we get fleeced constantly, day after day after day. We get ripped off. We are definitely the most financially exploited people in the developed world, as compared to other countries that have healthcare, paid leave, things like that. The bargain is that in America, you have to give the pharmaceutical companies your house when you get sick because you can't afford to pay them. So you have to go into medical bankruptcy and give everything you have ever owned and worked for.
You have to be driven into poverty so you'll qualify for Medicaid.
Right. So the bargain is you face financial ruin when you get old and get sick, and you can face financial ruin for any number of pitfalls that you may stumble into along the way throughout your life. The bargain is, in exchange for that, you're supposed to have basic liberties like freedom of speech. You go and start now, you're going to fleece me when I go to the pharmacy, and you're going to shake me down at the airport because of my opinion that I say on the internet? At that point, how is this a desirable place to live? And as far as Trump goes, hey, look, man, if you're having a falling out with Netanyahu, if you're having a falling out with Israel, it's time to rethink this shit, because this is incredibly damaging. And look, we do this for a living, not at the level that Hasan Piker does, but this is what we do. Well, no, I mean, honestly, like, I don't think
we're learning to play Final Fantasy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. We're working on our gaming game. But yeah, look, like, this is what we do, and so there's a subjectivity that we bring to this. Obviously, I don't think there's any point in like hiding that. I'm not ashamed of that. You know, we're all human. But you know, if speech is not protected, if speech can get you harassed in this way and potentially charged in this way, I mean, they're doing what they can to everybody, right? Because Hasan is an American citizen, they can't just pull him off the street yet. They got to find an excuse. Oh, he's coming back through the border, so we'll roust him here. Hey, where'd you go? How long did you stay? What were you there for? What were you doing? Why were you there? Who'd you talk to while you were there? Blah, blah, blah. But the further they push this, the less desirable a place this becomes for anybody to live. And when you push your infractions on civil liberties past a point, for me, you know, maybe this has to do subjectively with what we do for a living now, but I've always kind of felt that, like, hey, if I'm not allowed to run my mouth somewhere, I don't want to live there. Whatever the economic perks are. Like, you know, even if you cut my prescription drugs by 50%, if you're going to police people in this way, then it just ain't worth it. I mean, this is really chilling authoritarian shit.
Yeah, especially for someone like me who does like to travel and travels frequently. I've been researching it. I've been thinking we should probably do a special report advising people about this kind of thing, but obviously you want to be very accurate, so we'll put a lot of care into a segment like that. From preliminary research that I've done, they do not, if you are an American citizen, even at the border, have the right to go into your devices. However, what you should do as a basic protection is disable the Face ID, so that they can't just put it up to your face and get into your devices. Obviously, a next level up from that is to travel only with burners, which a lot of journalists are starting to do now if they have to enter or exit the United States. I've wanted to ask Max this because, from my understanding of his account, he actually answered questions. I am assuming you have your right to not answer questions and demand a lawyer. Is there a reason not to do that? So that's something I have to research as well. I think we should definitely do a segment on this. I'm not going to not leave the country because of this. But yeah, man, I mean, does it concern me coming back? Of course it does. Of course it does, doing this for a living. You know, I mean, clearly it's an intimidation tactic.
Right.
And at that point, that's why I say, like, I'm up here in Buffalo. Honestly, I like it. I'm not buying a house in this country.
No.
Like,
No.
there's no point to me to like make that kind of a move unless I'm committing. And I'm not prepared to commit to staying in this country. And you got to think, I'm one person. How much of an effect is that going to have on economic activity in this country in general? Like, I can't be the only one who feels, even if it's not for the civil liberties reason, just because of the chaos of today tariffs are on, tomorrow tariffs are off. Do you really want to like buy something here now? Would you start a business here now with all of that? Like, and again, a lot of our economic activity is dependent on the flow of people in and out of the country. Billions and billions of dollars in tourism. Huge impact on the quality of our universities going forward. Who's going to want to go here?
Right. No, I mean, it's becoming a very undesirable place to go to school, to live,
To
and to
visit.
even to visit on vacation. To visit on vacation. I mean, why would you subject yourself to
you're really going to see, if you've already seen 25-30% drops from Europe, from Canada, these are trips people book months in advance. If you're seeing that now, wait until Christmas. Wait until Christmas. That's when it's going to have been long enough for people to decide just not to come here. They're not going to have trips that were pre-booked. Total collapse. You're going to see a total collapse. This is something obviously we both come out of the tour industry, so we're more sensitive to this than most of the population. I think a lot of people do not understand what's coming for this country when people don't want to come visit anymore.
Please clap.